to Garcia. Off the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria.
There's Warner. Here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. Field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game.
Smack to the left. That is gone.
Lob for Perez. That's my play. Off the backboard. Counted and a win. And a win. Ryan Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go nuts. And why not?
What's going on, everyone? Back for another show here at Luke Faria Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Kevin, that's Ruben. Rudy, the back there on the camera. Today we're going to be joined by Port Isabel head coach Tony Villarreal, along with Brownsville athletic director Gilbert Leal. But for now, we're gearing up for Week 7 of high school football, and that means a couple of districts are still fixing to get underway. That's 31 and 32 6A, along with a couple of 5As. So we're going to get into all of that. But last week was a bye week, a little bit of a light week throughout the RGV. There was no football last Thursday, so that was a little strange. But to give us the scores of what happened in Week 6.
Yeah, to tack in also on that, it was 5 Valley districts last week who all had a bye week. It was 31-6. Well, the 6As, 15 5A Division 1 and 2, and then 16 5A Division 2 after bye weeks. But the scores, one lone football game to report on the Thursday night. It was Lifer defeating Bishop 32-6. We look at the Friday scores. Port Isabel defeats Universidad Autónoma Tamaulipas 66-6. Bronzo Veterans defeats Donna 60-7. Harlingen Marine Military Academy defeats Corpus Christi John Paul II 60-7. Santa Rosa defeats Odom 21-20. George West defeats Monte Alto 72-7. Harlingen South defeats Bronzo Pace 33-10. Westaco East defeats Bronzo Lopez 48-7. Sinton Blank Shermanville 23-0. Telosa Midway defeats La Feria 28-23. Brownsville St. Joseph edges by San Antonio Christian 41-37. Orange Grove defeats La Gruya 34-16. And last but not least, Hidalgo blanks Sabata 35-0 pitching shutout.
So those are your scores in Week 6. Again, a little bit of a light schedule, but looking back at Week 6, for you, what stood out to you?
To me, Brownsville Veterans, they got that statement win. It's the third time they beat an unbeaten team. They knock off Donna, but they send a big message. 60-7, they go 4-1 on the season, 1-0 in district play. Reese Sampaio, the senior quarterback, had quite the night. 4 touchdowns, 2 passing TDs, 2 rushing touchdowns. Fun fact, Sampaio is the third different Charger player to have 3 consecutive touchdowns in the game for the third straight week. Week 4 was Ryan Chavez against Port Isabel, 5 touchdowns. Last week, Storm Montoya against PSJ, 4 touchdowns. And this week, it's Sampaio with 4 touchdowns as well. The third time this year, Brownsville Veterans also knocks off an unbeaten team. They spoiled the party for St. Joe on September 9th, 40-21, against Port Isabel 44-14. It wasn't easy, however, though. Brownsville Veterans offense was off to a slow start. Donna's defense came up big. They forced 5 turnovers. Total turnovers on the night was 5 for Brownsville Veterans, 3 fumbles, a multi punt, and an interception. Once the pieces were put together for Brownsville Vets, they woke up, they got the offense and defense, they got the ball rolling, and they took advantage of Donna, who was having a rough night on offense, with more than 15 incomplete passes in that first half alone, and just tip of the hat to Kelly Lee and the coaching staff. They got Westaco East next week, so we'll see how that plays out, but the fact of the matter is, Brownsville Vets, they just continue to keep on rolling, and they're already doing good as they faced off against 3 unbeaten teams, and they've beat them all. The only one they lost to was 5-0 San Benito, who's one of 3 teams left unbeaten in the Valley alongside Harlingen and PI. All 3 of those, or Port PSJ North, all up 5-0 in the season.
Yeah, the more the weeks go on, and it's just a big I told you so, because I know some people had their doubts about BVM, but we saw the product Week 1 against San Benito and what they did defensively, and just jumping forward, each week as the weeks go on, they continue to get better. They continue to be more physical. And I know the one big thing that stood out was the turnovers. Can they limit the turnovers? Because you look back in each of those wins, they turned the football over quite a bit. I know they turned it over 5 times this past week, so that's one way too many. I think that's close to being a season high for veterans putting the football on the ground. But for me, it's like, okay, tell me something I don't know when it comes to Brownsville Veterans. I picked them in that game against Donna. I still think Donna's a good football team. That was their first true test of the year. So now, if you're looking at Donna, they still got to play Harlingen South. They still got to play Westaco East. So they're kind of in the not in the red zone, but in a spot where they could be a 2, a 3, or maybe even a 4. And I know all the teams on this side are wanting to avoid the 3 and that 4 spot in the playoffs if at all possible. And you say, well, why do you want to avoid the 3 and the 4th? Because you don't want to have to run across PSG North, or you don't want to have to run across Vela in the first round. But yeah, just completely just cool, great. With Bronzo veterans, it's just more of the same, but they just continue to get better each week. But the fact that their only loss came to San Benito, that loss doesn't look that bad. Now that we're 6 weeks into the season, when you're looking at what San Benito's been able to do just offensively and defensively, so that loss doesn't look so bad when you look back at it.
Yeah, it's an interesting factor.
And anything else that stood out to you?
So we had a low start. Harlingen South also, they pick up their second district win of the season again. It was a slow start. They went 0-2 on the season. Now they sit at 4-2 on the season and 2-0 in district. So South also a team that's continuing to get better and better as the weeks go on.
Yeah, Harlingen South, they're 2-0 in district. So they've put themselves in a little bit of a position, kind of in the driver's seat, so to speak. Not only with veterans for the district title race for now. I still think Veterans is the best team in that district. I think Veterans will win the district. But when you're looking at Harlingen South, because of that win against Weslaco East, they have Lopez this week. Then they have a bye. Or they have Donna North this week. Excuse me. They have Donna North, bye, Lopez, and then they finish off with Donna and Veterans. So the last 2 games for Harlingen South, it's going to be very telling. And depending on which way we go, those games could be either really big. You could be talking about a district title on the line, or a top spot, or a top seed in the district. But for Harlingen South, they've sort of figured it out these last few weeks. And arguably that district's really coming along. I know the first week we saw South lost, Pace lost, East lost, and it's like, okay, well, is this district going to be as competitive as we thought? But now that we're starting to see these teams kind of figure it out. But no doubt in my mind, at least Veterans is the lone team in that district. I was at St. Joe this past Friday, and boy, they're starting to call them the cardiac kids. St. Joe went up, or they fell behind 13-0 out of the gate. They come back, they tie the game, and then in the second half, they go down again. They're losing by 10 with 4 minutes left, and they wound up getting a touchdown, getting an onside kick, getting another touchdown, and then they wound up scoring with, I think, 26 seconds left. So that was a huge win for St. Joe, just a back and forth with San Antonio Christian. And Ethan Gallegos just continues to trend in the right direction. He's up for Player of the Week in the TAPS division. And you're starting to see multiple weapons. They're all starting to step up all at the same time, because in the past we saw one game where it would be Lucas stepped up against Lopez, and then it was DP and against Santa Rosa, although he didn't play the entire game. And then you see guys like Ethan Gallegos last week or 2 weeks ago in Edna against Victoria St. Joe, where it was Gallegos who stepped up in the second half. But they're slowly starting to put it together, and they're finding a way to collectively put it all together. And that's what Tino had said last week or 2 weeks ago when he was on this show, that we know that they got multiple weapons. It's just finding a way to get them all clicking at the same time. And even Francisco de la Garza Kiko, he's had a couple of big games. So they have a tough challenge this week. They're playing the Austin Regents, and anytime St. Joe plays the Regents, that's always the biggest game on the schedule. That's a team that wins state championships. So it's going to be their biggest challenge to date, and we'll see what they can do. But as far as Week 7 goes, this is what we have on the schedule. Starting with tomorrow, we have a couple of games. Our Pronto Insurance Game of the Week is actually going to be the 32 6A opener, and that's going to be Los Fresnos at Brownsville Rivera. And then Edinburgh Vela continues their district play after their bye week. They're at home against Rio Grande City, and then you fellas have a date in Port Isabel.
Yeah, Port Isabel going to be taking on Universidad Autónoma de México, Tamaulipas, and Ciudad Victoria. Second consecutive week that we see Port Isabel take on a team from down south across the border. Reason for that, we heard that is in a 16 4A Division 2. It's a very, very small district. Speaking to Coach Villarreal prior to the show, that's a 14 district, and they don't have a lot of time. They can't get enough reps because a lot of the 3As and 2As are already in district play, and you can't take that away from them. So it's just made some things happen, and it's interesting to see, get a taste of talent, a variety of all types of talent before you kick off district play.
Before we go to break, we're going to run down our Friday schedule. We have Weslaco at Harlingen, Edinburgh at Mission, La Jolla at Edinburgh North, Mission Vets at Sherryland Pioneer, Bronzo Lopez, Brownsville Pace, Cal Allen at La Feria, Austin Regents at Brownsville St. Joe, Riviera at La Villa, Monte Alto at Odom, San Diego at Santa Gertrudis, and then on Friday we have Gregory Portland coming to town to take on the Porter Cowboys. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and before we wrap up the show after our interviews, we'll run you down our schedule. On the other side of the break, we're going to be joined by Port Isabel head coach Tony Villarreal, and then later in the show, we'll be joined by Brownsville Athletic Director Gilbert Leal. So when we come back, Tony V will be joining us on the show here from Luke Faria Motors in Brownsville.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try our delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, variadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
Baby, just listen to me.
Escucha.
We do everything with speed.
Prontísimo.
Auto, home, business, or
Flexible.
insurance for all your
Barato.
needs. You say you just got a new boat. Come on by and we'll give you a free quote.
Prontísimo.
Okay, who's singing? Me or you? Hello?
Accesible.
I'm out.
Pregúntale a tu agente cómo ahorrar con Pronto, porque más barato, nadie.
Our service is unmatched. Our commitment to our team and our community, relentless. Our products are innovative and exciting. Fruya, we're what's next now.
Hija, tomorrow's your quinceañera. I need you to call your padrinos and tell them thank you for the salon, the tamales, the dress, el DJ.
Ay, Ama, you called them. I didn't even want a quinceañera in the first place. I would have preferred to have gone to Paris instead.
I will, fine. I'm gonna give you your surprise gift early.
Huh?
Guess what? You're going to Paris.
How?
Well, I've been saving mucho dinero all year in insurance thanks to Pronto Insurance.
Let's just get the quinceañera and go straight to Paris.
Call your padrinos right now.
Okay.
Ask your agent how you can start saving with Pronto. Best price in town.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhound Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live!
Josh Moody and Coach Rolly Gonzalez of Josh Moody Loans are former Harlingen Cardinals and would like to wish all the teams good luck in tonight's games.
Welcome back. We're joined by Port Isabel head coach Tony Villarreal. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Welcome
Kevin.
back. You were here at around this time last year, right?
Yeah, I was. Thank you for the invite.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, last time you were here, we were talking how last year was your first true season as a Tarpon head coach because of COVID and all the craziness that went behind it. But now, you've had a full off season. You've had a full season.
Yeah.
Playoffs. You guys have gotten a good experience. You guys are 5-1 right now. Going back to week 6 and week 7, you guys have a little unique schedule right in front of you guys. Teams coming over from Mexico.
Yeah.
And just talk about what inspired that and just what that experience has been like for you guys.
Well, thank you, Kevin. That's a pretty interesting question. First of all, just the historical aspect, as everybody knows, on the realignment, it's every 2 years. And last year we inherited the schedule. And so consequently, we had 7 or 8 games where we had to travel to Corpus. We won 8 games, but 8 of those games were on the road. I mean, it's tough for our kids to get on a bus. And I've always said that it's very difficult. Probably the most difficult thing for coaches to do in high school is pack up your team, get on a bus, feed them, dress them, you make sure they have water, hydration, all that stuff, and oh, by the way, you guys still play the game, and then line them up, undress them, shower them, and then get them on the bus and then come back. It's just so many moving parts when coaches have to move, 50 or 100 kids, the logistics of that, feeding them, not leaving anybody behind. So last year we had 8 road games, and all of them were in Corpus. So we were real fortunate that the UIL took an opposite approach. We went from that extreme to the opposite extreme, and now you only had 14 districts. So the 14 district kind of left us in a little bit of. It was a great district for us. I mean, you're in the playoffs automatically, but here's the what's the matter on that one. You got to find 7 non-conference game, and that's impossible. I mean, I was just talking to Gilbert Leal. He says, Coach, man, if you're lucky, if you find 4. I mean, you guys found 5. I mean, in most normal years, you'll find 3, 2, but to find 7, that animal that doesn't hunt. So anyway, we ended up so we took a different approach. We really, we wanted to play the toughest non-conference schedule. I've always believed in that because it makes our job easier for districts. So we played Lyford, who's one of the best teams in the valley. We played Rio Hondo, who's for the last 10 or 12 years, they've beaten us pretty good. So there's a rivalry there that we want to continue with Rocky James and company. And he does he's probably one of the better coaches in the valley. And then we had Murderers Row. We had to play the big 5As, the Valley Views, the Brownsville Vets, and Ed Couch. So we just felt that if we took that approach, playing those tough teams and those coaches, we felt like they would make our team better. I mean, we're still very young. We really only play with about 5 seniors. So basically, we're a JV group, a very good JV group. We're mainly juniors and sophomores, and we got some very talented seniors, but we're really a year away. And so, and that kind of leads us up to this. To answer your question fully, week 6 and 7, we had to find a way we had to be real creative to find games for those 2 games. And so we had one opportunity. We could have played West Oso in week 6, but they're our first-round opponents. I just didn't want to play them in the first round and then play them in the 6th, and then it's just so hard to motivate and to do all that. So I just said, well, let's – and then, I got in contact with Mark Lozano. Mark Lozano is – one of our Valley natives, is one of the most decorated coaches and athletes. He's from Edinburgh. He works exclusively in Mexico. Does a lot with the pros and the colleges, and so he was I coached him back here in Brownsville. He was at West Brownsville Little League, and I coached him. Yeah, he was like a 12-year-old, and I was a 17-year-old. I was already coaching at 17 years old, and he was my big first baseman. Hit the ball over the lights. I never saw the ball back, So big old guy. Anyway, he ended up playing at TCU, and so he's my contact, and ended up getting some contacts, the University of Tamaulipas, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And for those kids to come over and play here in the States, what was it like for you kids? Not every day we play teams from out of the country, really.
So it's to give a little historical aspect that these teams are from Tamaulipas, the state of Tamaulipas. A lot of people realize or know the historical background. Monterrey Tech, those are the most famous. They've been playing American football since 1927. So they have a very strong tradition. Tamaulipas is just starting. They started it back in the day, and then they 1 year they're on, 1 year. Now they've kind of gotten a little more traditional, and with the help of Mark Lozano, they have a colegio, they have a JV, and then they have the secundaria. And the secundaria is like kids our age, the high school kids. So to answer your question, it was a beautiful event. One of the things that I learned about the teams from Mexico is they live for the competition and the sportsmanship. It's more about, yes, they want to play, and they'll give you everything they got, and they want to play, and they want to win. But the thing that's more important with them is developing a relationship and having good sportsmanship. After the game, one of their best players came up and gave us a gift, a Mexican flag, and then we had one, and they wanted to exchange jerseys like they do in soccer, and the kids say, "Hey, coach, no, you can't give them their jersey." So I said, "Hey, well, maybe next week we'll have something for her or whatever." So it was a really beautiful event, and I was real happy. They don't have a school song, so we played the Mexican national anthem. We provided gifts, and we provided from our school district we provided a pregame meal and a postgame meal, and so we did a lot of things that helped promote the program. But I was really impressed with the kids never giving up from Mexico. They just never give up, and they never played like dirty or illegal tactics. They just played hard. And to the very end, they were throwing the ball, chunking it deep. They were still throwing it deep. The last series.
Definitely, and switching gears, tomorrow you have one more date, one more non-district game, and then you guys get into what we like to call phase 2,
yes,
where it's district play.
Exactly.
So tomorrow, Coach, you can look at it as we were saying as a dress rehearsal type game, because we've seen you win different kinds of ways. Everyone knows you guys are back to the nasty slot. The defense has been coming along really well. We'll talk about more of them later. But as a coaching staff, do you guys see this as a dress rehearsal, as one more shot to kind of just work on some things maybe?
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. What we've done is, we had our number ones, and we kind of worked on a lot of things in the first 5 games. But after playing Brownsville Vets and playing Valley View and then playing Ed Couch, we kind of limped in, and we're kind of a little, we had some growing pains and some bang. At this time of the day, everybody at this stage of the game, we get people that are hurt and they're banged up, so you got to heal them up a little bit. So it's perfect because, like last week, we got a lot of work done with our number ones. That we really wanted to see our number twos play, our backups. I think, you can go deep in the playoffs and win a district championship if you get to see your number twos. Well, we hadn't seen them because we've been playing in some nail biters. Brownsville Vets, pretty much kicked us all over the place, and Valley View did the same thing, and Ed Couch was a nail biter, and then Lyford we only won by 1 game, so really our number twos haven't gotten much work, so we're still working on that, trying to get our number twos and seeing the combinations, see where we can do, if we can sub in a kid or two and the combinations and the chemistry for offense, defense, and kicking games. So that's you're right, a dress rehearsal, but with a little caveat in regards to we really got to get our number twos ready for district play.
6 games in, you guys are 5-1. Said offensively, you're averaging 34 points a game. What do you know about this team where you can say this is who we are? Have you guys found that identity yet?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because the way we prepare, there's 4 aspects that I teach the coaches, and then they take it to another level. There's 4 aspects to winning the game, right, or to being successful on Friday night. 1, how do you plan, right? So we plan a certain way that where we can always we teach it to where you can gain an advantage offensively, defensively, kicking game. So how do you plan? Number 2, how do you teach? Some kids learn differently than this person, that person. So how do you learn, right? The second thing, along with the how do they learn, is do we check for understanding? And then the last thing is how do they make adjustments? So to answer your question, there's 4 aspects to preparing a team to be successful on Friday night. How do you do all that with a young ball club, right? We're very young, so to get the identity and then playing these large 5As, we're still trying to figure it out. But I guess to answer your question, 1, we're always going to run the ball, and we do know about, we have a strong running attack, and the aspect, you guys call it the nasty slot and the misdirection offense. We take that, and then we take it to another 2 or 3 levels. So what we do with our running backs, if you notice, we have 8 or 9 backs touching the ball.
Yes.
So that's another level of misdirection. Yeah, we run the misdirection. We fake here, and we give it here, right? But now we change the whole backfield. So when you go in and you're scouting us, you say, okay, it's number 5. Oh, no, it's number 7. Oh, no, they're completely different. So that's another level of misdirection. So to answer your question, number 1, I think we run the ball real well. I think our defense is off the chart. I think they've really saved our bacon a lot of times. We against Brownsville Vets and against Lyford, we offensively were so young, making so many mistakes, kicking game, fumbling the ball, whatever. Our defense, I don't know how many goal line stances they've had, and so they've really stepped it up huge. So to me, strong defense, strong running game, and just trying to find a game, trying to be consistent on kicking game is who we are.
And I would think right now the strengths is the rushing attack. Because when I saw you guys against Rio Hondo, that was one of my first questions. And I think on that first drive, I think I counted 5 different backs that touched the football.
Yes, sir.
And the first thing I told Joe was, he said, how'd it go? I said, well, it's your vintage Tony V offense. Because I remember when you were in Westlaco, we saw multiple, Desi Sanchez and all those guys. We saw like 8 different guys touch the ball, I think, when you guys played Laredo United that one year. But I said, yeah, and then that was the first question I asked you was like, is this exactly what we're going to see? 7 or 8 different guys touch the football. So the rushing attack is going to be a strength, has been a strength, and then the defense has also been a strength for you guys as well. What about are some things that you maybe want to work on? Maybe some kinks that you may want to fix?
Sure. The other vintage Tony V stuff is we don't throw the ball. Right. And everybody knows that. And I want everybody to know, everybody in Rio Grande Valley, we don't throw the ball. But Coach Tony throws the ball. We throw it just like everybody else. We just don't show it. So we've been working on it, and we're going to unveil it when we unveil it. So we may unveil it this week or 2 weeks down the road or maybe in the playoffs. So the biggest thing, Kevin, is that, with the running game, with the throwing game, there's so many aspects to it, and there's so many negative things can happen to it. But running the ball is a safe bet, especially in wet weather, cold weather, whatever. Can't throw the ball very well, whatever. And so we have to balance it out. We do have to work on throwing the ball down the field and in the flats and mid type of range. And so we're going to do those things. I think our defense is really very good, and we go tweak it personnel-wise and maybe look for different combinations because we're going to face some people that like to air it out. So we're looking at maybe a rabbit group or maybe a personnel group that does better as far as, we always personnel everything.
Right.
So passing the defense.
Sticking with your defense, once people start throwing the word seawall around, that's some pretty elite company with the Esteban Montolongos, Jockeys Guiats of the world. Talk about your defense.
Well, we have a fantastic defense coordinator, Albert Barberena. He was one of the kids that I coached back in the day, back in the 90s. And so he's been there. He worked for several staff members there, several head coaches. And so we talked about that at length in the spring, and we really felt that our D-line was going to be the base. And, we've got some great D-linemen and, whether it's the defensive tackles, defensive ends. And we've been somewhat dominant other than the vets thing. But I think we hold our own very well. And our linebacking core is, I think, coming along. I think, last year we had, Tristan Garcia, who was the sophomore of the year in that tough district. And he's our Mike, outside linebacker. We also have Jojo Ochoa, who's probably one of the better ones that has just come up. If he could be the newcomer. You also have Cross Martinez as outside linebacker. Now he doubles up as a running back. But we also have some other kids, and those are the kids that we want to develop and see if we can, spell Cross Martinez and then our secondary is extremely talented. We've got some really, we got Jeffrey Smith and Christian Smith and Cleveland Smith. They're all brothers, and they're ball hawks. I mean, they're 3 lockdown corners right there. And then we've got some real good safeties and Tony Garcia. Tony Garcia is probably one of the better football players that we got. And he'll come up and hit you, and then he can also go get it. So there's a lot of good things. We just got to find the right combination. Every week we got to retool the offense. Who's our best wideout? Oh, it's this guy. Oh, no, it's the slot receiver. So we got to change everything so we can stop their best. And that's just the way most coaches do it.
And then looking ahead, not that we're leapfrogging tomorrow, but districts right around the corner, and just with what you guys have seen with y'all's district, what's kind of the feel for it?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because, they're kind of in the same boat we are. They've had to play 7 non-conference games, and they're trying to find combinations. And a lot of times I kind of feel like the 4As and the 3As are at a disadvantage because, well, who do you pick up in the non-conference? You got to pick up pick up the 5As. You got to pick up, a large 5A or a small 5A, and and so it's not going to be very good, and so it's kind of misconceived. Now we were fortunate; we ended up with 2-1 against the 5As, but it doesn't mean that you could be 0-3 and still be a good ball club because you play Brownsville Vets.
Right.
So it's kind of misleading. We don't take anybody for granted. We give everybody their respect. But Ravenville is probably one of the most talented teams in the Valley, and we have a high regard for them. And we're going to have to play probably our butts off to try to just line up with them. And they got some great athletes, and so we just try to match up and see if we can play in what. Now Bishop, we haven't seen too much Bishop. Bishop's been playing in the Coastal Bend, and I think they've played Lyford. So that's a common opponent, and I think they ended up on the short end on that one. So, but they throw the ball quite a bit. And then you got Gruya. Gruya's got a great coach over there, and so we have a high regard for Abel Gonzalez, and so they've always had a lot. The Gruya always has the fastest kids in the Valley in the 4A, so we're real concerned about the speed, and so just trying to match up and hopefully we can line up and play.
So the trick is, like you said at the top of the show, is that there's 4 teams. You're automatically in the playoffs.
Right.
But we've seen this before when it was, I believe it was you, Rojondo, Raymondville. Was it Progresso when y'all were also in that 4-team district?
I think
like
so.
4 or 5 years
Coach
ago?
Strunk, maybe Coach Strunk. Coach Strunk I wasn't there,
Yeah, but there was that 4-team district.
Thing. Yeah.
It's strange because, I had the conversation with Rock.
Yeah.
Was that, how do you, if you know you're in, then what do you play for? What are you guys working on?
Right.
So I think what I've come to learn is when you find yourself in a 4-team district, it's about seeding.
Right.
You want to see who's above you. You want to be healthy, and you want to put yourself in a good position for the postseason. Is that your approach?
Absolutely, and I think that's the district's approach because when we met as all the head coaches and athletic directors, we talked about the seeding, and so we have a tiebreaker system for the seeding. That's a very important point that you brought up. That's first and foremost on our district plan. Second thing that we did as a district and all the ADs is we moved everything up, and we have that last date. So that when we play Gruya, that last game of the year, we have the next day, we have an open date. So whatever happens, wherever we come out, first or fourth, we have 2 weeks to get ready for the bi-district, which is beautiful for us. I mean, I think that's huge, and everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to have the higher seeding. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw, man. You could be first seed, and you're out the first round. Sometimes you're second or third seed, and you just pick you get lightning in the bottle, and you go 3 or 4 rounds deep, that you got the right draw or whatever.
Right.
So you just never know. You just got to line up and play, and hopefully it comes out well. But I think the key is what you said. We have to be healthy, and we got to be ready to go. And the mindset is huge. We teach the mindset all the time.
Coach, before we let you go, just for the fans, for the PI fans, that they're gung-ho about Tarpon football, what can we expect from the Tarpons come district play?
Well, I mean, without a doubt, Kevin, you can I guess hang your hat on a very physical and very hard-running football team with solid defense, and I'm hoping that we don't make any more young mistakes. So we did a lot of that early, and I think the Ed Couch game kind of got us almost solidified as far as making kicking game mistakes and coughing the ball over and that kind of stuff. But I think our defense is really you're gonna see a real hard-nosed defense, and hopefully that sets a tempo for the playoffs.
Coach, before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give?
Oh, wow. No, just the whole Tarpon Nation, man. Hey, yeah, shout out to Tarpon Nation. Thank you for the support. Yes.
And we'll be live tomorrow from your stadium.
Okay, and this afternoon we're having homecoming parade, so let all the Tarpons get out there and go yell and scream for all the Tarpons, and so, yeah, we'll see you there.
Perfect. All right, Coach. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow, and
Yes,
hopefully we'll have another conversation come playoffs.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Thank you,
Gilbert Leal will be joining us on the other side of the break. Special thank you to Tony V joining us here at Luke Faria.
Just listen to me.
Escucha.
Do everything with speed.
Prontísimo.
Out of home business service.
Flexible.
Insurance for all your
Barato.
needs. You say you just got a new boat. Come on by and we'll give you a free quote.
Prontísimo.
Okay, who's singing? You. Hello?
Accesible.
Pregúntale a tu agente cómo ahorrar con Pronto, porque más barato, nadie.
For quality care, contact Mesquite Home Health and Attendant Services today. In Brownsville at 594 Jose Marti Boulevard, call today 956-361-5558.
We here at Mesquite want to wish all local athletes good luck in today's game.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Castillo. I invite you to visit San Benito and see for yourself the many things this community has to offer. Our offices of economic development offer a variety of business resources to developers, investors, and business owners from small to large scale. Contact us and let us work together on your next business opportunity.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We're the St. Joe Foothound Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live!
Our service is unmatched. Our commitment to our team and our community, relentless. Our products are innovative and exciting. Fruya, we're what's next now.
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try our delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, variadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
What's going on, everyone? We're back, and we're joined by Brownsville Athletic Director Gilbert Leal. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kim, for having me.
We had you on the show last year, right? And
yes, we did.
And I know we were trying to get you on the show earlier this year, but thanks for making the time to come and join us.
Love it.
What's new in Brownsville? Any good and exciting news you want to share?
Well, I guess right now we have what they call the Chamber of Commerce weather going on now, so we finally have cooled off a little bit. We've got rid of some of the rain clouds, but there's some fun things going on in Brownsville athletics. We just had some positive news come out in the golf world.
Okay.
Yesenia Medellin, she's a golfer from Porter High School. She just shot a personal record. She was first place in Tierra Santa in Wesco this last weekend. Very positive. So Coach Randy Medina's done a great job of getting that golf program up and running. And then something that doesn't happen very often, you have Nadia Gracia from Veteran. She's a cross-country runner. She ran the fastest time in the history of any girl cross-country runner in BISD history.
Wow.
At the Founders Course up there in Round Rock where they run the state championship meet. She ran a school record and a district record there, too, only a junior. So we'll be looking for her name here when the district championships come around in a couple of weeks.
Some exciting news. I saw that cross-country news, and I thought that was pretty exciting. How long was that record? Do you know? Or?
I think I believe it. Andrea De La Rosa, who is now a senior running in college right now.
Okay.
She was the former record holder, runner out of Brownsville Rivera. So now Mrs. Gracia now is the new record holder here in BISD for the 5K.
We're going to talk some volleyball, we promise, in just a little bit. But we're going to start off with, what's going on in football right now. We'll start with Bronzo Lopez and hiring Coach Sean Tarantola. And I got to see them week one against St. Joe, and they moved that football pretty well. I think Eddie Slovak is a name that people are going to start to realize, and just a sophomore. And I know they haven't won a couple games lately, but with the things you're seeing that, hey, there's some flashes with these young pieces.
Yeah, it was a good hire for us. Coach Tarantola, I've always been a fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a fan of his offenses, all those years that he was at Nicky Rowe High School in McAllen. It's going to take some time. He's building the foundation, it's complete culture change that he's building right there. But he does have a very young class. He's actually a couple years away from getting the Brownsville Middle School 8th grade district champions onto up and running at the varsity level. There should be freshmen there right now. So it's going to take some time for him to be able to get his system up and running. But he is the most positive person I've ever met in my life, and I know he's working for an incredible administration there at Lopez. So it's just to be a matter of time. I talk to him every week.
Yep.
And I have a chance to watch his games there at Sam Stadium, and just told him, keep doing what you're doing, believe in what you're doing. I've been there before at Harlingen South where I had a rebuilder, and you start doubting yourself, and you start thinking, that the things that you're doing that you've done your whole life, maybe not the right way to do things, but. I just encouraged him, and he has some fans. Our administration are big fans of what he's doing there too, and they scored a lot of points early, and they kind of had a little bit of a drop off. But district's rolling now, so we'll see if they could surprise anybody this year.
And then jumping gears to Brownsville veterans, I think they're the big bad wolf when it comes to Brownsville football this year. Last year we saw some flashes, but this year they are just dropping the hammer. For me, is like, wow, I knew they were going to be good, but I didn't think they'd be this good.
Well, that was another splash hire for us, getting Coach Kelly Lee out of eastern New Mexico, and he's unveiling this is year 2 of the flex bone, the triple option. So they were very, very young last year, and they were able to, like Lopez is trying to do. They got a couple of surprise wins to kind of get the juices going. And this year, he's had an incredible year so far. The game that was very surprising to me was the game 1 against San Benito, 3-3 first quarter, 3-3 half, 3-3 third quarter, and I think they had 5 turnovers or 6 turnovers in that game that eventually cost them. But if you look at the opponents that they've played, San Benito's still undefeated right now. St. Joe only has 1 loss. Port Isabel only has 1 loss, and then Donna was undefeated coming in. So they're playing quality opponents. Not necessarily hurt them, but having an open week so early in the year kind of maybe stopped a little bit of the progress. But Coach Lee's done a great job, and then not only have they been scoring a lot of points offensively, but they're doing a great job with their new defensive coordinator J.C. Ramirez also.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was going to be my next point, was that bringing J.C. Ramirez over. He had a good track record at Hannah, and then he's bringing that physicality, that hard-nosed style to veterans. Was that kind of the missing piece, the missing formula to kind of just?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think JC brings a lot of knowledge, and he did a great job at Hannah for a very long time. I think the credit has to go with the leader. Coach Lee has brought in a physical mentality to Veterans High School, and you look up at this last game was a little bit odd. I'm used to watching veterans games and looking down and it's 9:30 and we're already leaving the stadium. And the first quarter took like 45 minutes in this last game. I was impressed with Donna. Donna has some athletes, and I was impressed with the Lefevre kid at quarterback. I know he's only a sophomore. You could see the arm there. They had a couple of drops that kind of hurt them, and maybe the momentum kind of hurt them real early in the game. But they're going to be right there in the mix also in 32-5A or 16-5A.
Right, and then this offense is very unique. Where Tony V they run the nasty slot, and then you guys at BVM they run that triple option. We've talked with Coach Kelly Lee about it. I think this is more of the kids understanding the full off season with the system. And they've all bought in, and they just continue to get better each week. Do you guys feel that same way, where everything is just building each week? And then I think this past week against Donna, that was their first, real test, 2 unbeatens in district.
Correct.
And then they really answered the call.
It was a nice atmosphere. Everybody, we got plenty of phone calls on, why is that game being played at Veterans High School? Why are we going to move it to Sam Stadium? It's a beautiful stadium. It holds almost 5,000 people, 4,000 or 5,000, and we had plenty of room for that game. And he likes playing there. He's beat Wesco East there. Now he's beating Donna there. So I don't know if we'll ever get him back to Sam Stadium right now.
Some good juju.
But the nice thing you're seeing now from them, the biggest difference that I could see is that it's understood that it's a ball control offense, and if you're really a spread team, you're gonna look up and you're used to getting maybe 7-8 possessions per half. In an offense like that, you look up and you've had 3 possessions and you're already going into halftime. So it really puts the pressure on teams that are trying to throw the football. But what you're also seeing too is that they're not milking the clock. They're actually running the no huddle, and they're very multiple. He's showing lots of different offensive sets, and he's running his system in there. So that's just the comfort level that the kids are right now with the triple I and the flex and the wishbone and the T. and all that. So you're seeing you're seeing some good variables from him also.
Switching gears to 32-6A, it's the district opener for both Hannah and Rivera, and just going into 32-6A, 6-team district. This year, we're kind of learned, who are the front runners. You have Harlingen and San Benito early on. And then from there, Los Fresnos, they have a freshman at quarterback. Hannah probably has the most veterans, and then you have Rivera there. So it's pretty wide open when you take out Harlingen and San Benito. It's anyone's spot to take the 3 and the 4.
It's the traditional 32-6A meat grinder.
Mhm.
So every one of those teams, you're looking at the largest teams in the Rio Grande Valley enrollment wise.
Mhm.
There's lots of talent, lots of tradition, and so every win that you get from now on is a quality win. Because there's not any easy wins in 32-6A. So
Mhm.
Everybody's going to be playing fired up. Everybody's records are 0-0 right now. It's very odd that that the Rio Grande Valley has so many non-district games, and this was one of those years where everybody had an opportunity to see a bunch of different people play and get a lot of young kids onto the field. But now all these games are gonna mean something now. So with everybody's record being 0-0, everybody's going to go out there and fight for these things one at a time.
And Hannah, they have Chris Benya back at running back. And they have Villafranco at quarterback. So I feel that they're just one play away from really putting it together. So I think Hannah's on the upswing. They do play San Benito this week.
That's correct.
So that's going to be a tough chore for them right out of the gate. And Rivera opens up with.
Rivera has Los Fresnos.
Los Fresnos up tomorrow night. That's our game of the week. That's right.
Correct.
So right out of the gate, we'll get a good measuring stick, and I feel, like I said, I feel that 3 and that 4 spot are wide open. It's kind of just there for the taking. Brownsville Pace also in that district with Brownsville veterans. We had Danny Pardo on a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned that they were very young, but they're starting to trend in the right direction. They went back to the I. So what have you seen from the Vikings?
When I think of Pace Vikings and Coach Pardo's team, it's always going to be a physical football team.
Mhm.
They're always going to be well coached. The fundamentals are always going to be there. They don't do anything fancy. They play hard-nosed football, and they run the football, and they try play action and take their shots. So they're very, very consistent at pace, and that's due to the leadership there of Coach Bardo. So that brand of football as the games get into late in the year, it's going to be the teams that they're the most fundamentally sound are the ones that are going to have a chance to be able to sneak in there.
Speaking of Brownsville Pace, the House of Pain. The volleyball team, they had that win a couple weeks ago against veterans.
Mm-hmm.
They did lose on Saturday against Edcouch, and that was an upset. That kind of sent some shockwaves throughout the valley. But I mean, veterans is good, Pace is good, Lopez and Porter, they're all in that 32-5A mix for volleyball. So how has the year been for you all with volleyball?
Well, one is it's one. I think it's one of those exciting years for BISD for volleyball. Rivera is doing a great job in 32-6A, and then you're looking at the 32-5A standings, and I'm waiting. I already have it circled where when Pace goes to veterans and plays that second game there on that campus. But you got veterans at first, Pace at second. I believe you have Lopez in fourth and Porter in fifth. So for BISD 32-5A volleyball, we're very excited. If we find a way to to get a couple more wins, it'd be nice to be able to have all 4 teams represent 32-5A in the volleyball district.
That's got to be a first, right?
That would probably be the first.
Because I don't remember there being an all Brownsville. That'd be very unique. But yeah, Brownsville Rivera, shout out to them last night. They threw that wrench in the 32-6A district. They got the road win at Harlingen. Were you able to catch that at all? Or?
Yes, I was able to watch that.
That 30. Rudy was the one calling it. That 30-28 match was pretty incredible. And I told Rudy, I said, Coach, and I had called it before the year. I said, Coach Guerra, I know they might not have the hitters. Kenya graduated, but they still have Rochelle at libero. They know how to play defense. I said they're gonna get one, whether it's against Los Fresnos or Harlingen. They're gonna get one. And they got one last night on the road.
It's the same. It's the exact same thing. It's 32-6A. There's no slouches. So every win in 32-6A, even in volleyball, is a quality win. So yeah, Coach Guetta has done an incredible job her entire career over there. So those girls are probably peaking at the right time.
Yeah, and another thing I mentioned to Rudy was that Rivera, yes, they got swept by Los Fresnos, but that was the district opener.
Mm-hmm.
So now second time around, they have to go to Los Fresnos, yes, but they're going to be playing with so much more confidence.
That's correct.
Yeah, and then, Pace and Veterans, the first time those two met up, Pace won the first 2, Veterans won the next 2, then Pace eventually won in 5. And, Coach, I think that's still the biggest crowd I've seen this year, and in probably the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's
as
very
far
exciting.
as a volleyball crowd.
Especially now we're, I guess you could say, we're moving further and further away from our pandemic.
Yes.
And we're starting to get the crowds coming in now, so to be able to have a good kickoff with the volleyball seasons rolling is very exciting for BISD.
And the fun thing is that when you look at the bi-district round, 31 5A is just as crazy with the 2 Sherrylands and the 3 McAllens, and then you have Vela, who could very well make the playoffs in any other district. Then you have PSJ North. You have 7 quality teams, but you have the Power 5 with the 2 Sherrys and the 3 McAllens. They're going to play this side first, and that's a first-round matchup. And just to think of what could happen, we're going to get some really good volleyball right out of the gate.
It's going to be incredible, and I think that's going to be they're going to need that to be battle-tested because as soon as you start moving up a little bit, there's some quality teams right up the road.
I think this year we got a really good shot for an All-Valley region final for volleyball out of 5A, because you look at it, if we, when I say we, I mean the Valley, can get past the Flower Bluff, the Gregory Portlands of the world in that second round, we'll see each other again in the third round, and then from there on it's regional tournament.
That's correct.
But I just have a feeling that we may get a Pace, a Veterans, McAllen Memorial, Sherryland, a region final. I just have a feeling this year, this could be the year.
I'm hoping it's the way it is for all the sports.
Yeah, that'd be
included.
great. That'd be great. Coach, we're going to switch gears here, and you and I, of course, we're big Cowboy fans, and the Cooper Rush deal, and I know I've seen your posts that you've ordered. Have you ordered your Cooper Rush jersey
I
yet?
have it on the way. He's taking us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of feels like the Romo Dak deal a couple years ago. Do you go with the hot hand or do you go with the veteran? What have your thoughts? What have your thoughts as a former quarterback?
I'm blessed to be able to be born a Cowboy fan. So
Amen.
I had no choice on that. So
Touche.
So in order for us to be a diehard Cowboy fan, we got to. We're 3-0 with Coop. So I saw it after the first game. I was like, man, I got to find out where I could get this jersey before they get too expensive. Now after three wins, man, I can't even find the jersey now. I'm sure that thing's probably triple the value. But yeah, that's as a fan, it's he's kept us in the game, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if they made a decision if Dak's playing or not. I heard that that Dak was coming back Sunday. So if that's the case, then. Man, you're talking about pressure.
Yeah,
you're talking about pressure.
I think they could ease them back into practice, get a couple practices under their belt, and then come back. That way you don't rush them back, especially into a game like Sunday at LA. That's tough. And then at Philadelphia the following week.
Yeah.
But either way.
It's been exciting. But regardless, I know if the Cowboy game is going to be on, we're going to have, the Valley is going to be behind them. State of Texas will be behind them. And, of course, you can't watch a Dallas game unless you have the pit on, right?
Good segue. Right into your G Money famous barbecue. Talk about that. It's a mystery. I forgot who I was talking with, but they said I've always wondered where he barbecues. I said apparently it's a closed location.
So
but yeah, talk about your barbecue skills.
So I have some good friends in the valley, in the Mid Valley area, and so they love football just as much as I do. And this job, being the athletic director of one of the largest school districts in probably South Texas, is stressful. And so I don't fish, I don't hunt, I don't play golf. What I do is I just love the barbecue, and I love watching football, especially college football and NFL football. So that is something that I love to do. That relaxes me. I always maybe. One of my family traits, probably learned this from Dad, is I probably overcook, and so I want to make sure that that all my friends are good friends are taken care of. And to me, the longer the cook, the better it is, because that means there's just more football to watch. So I'm not going to be doing anything on the Traeger. I'm going to make sure that these are wood burning cooks. So
Cowboys at Eagles Sunday night, big game. What's the go-to dish that's your go-to? This is what you're going to make.
Well, it is my birthday weekend, so my birthday is actually next Tuesday, October 11th. So I've already kind of planned our dishes. We're gonna start with. Actually, I'll just wait and I'll post that and we'll see. But the dishes planned are ready for Sunday, and we're off Monday too, so that's even nicer.
Even better
in the school district.
Even better. Coach, before we let you go, we were talking off the air, but just about RGV football in general. We're seeing, and I thought, the Veterans San Benito game, I know it was early, but I felt that the 5As for the first time in a long time were just ahead of the 6As. where we have a lot more depth in 5A. And you're kind of seeing that through the first 6 weeks. Vela, PSJ North, and then you have the Sherrylands, and then you have veterans. But overall, just as a football fan, looking back at the scoreboards on a Friday night, what stood out to you?
Well, I can't lie. I was actually peeking in out on the at the game for the Far North Vela game.
Oh, everybody was. No shame.
So, I was,
Yeah.
of course, I'm at Sam Stadium, but I wanted to make sure. And that game was very physical, and my hats goes out to Coach Kaufman and Coach Campbell have always done a great job. The 5As they're very strong this year. They're very strong. I think veterans is going to be there also. Our district is very strong. But on second note, you can't sleep on 32 6A's teams. So,
right.
Harlingen is there. Coach Gomez does a great job. Coach Gomez, Dan Gomez at San Benito's got those guys ready to go too.
Yep.
Westlake is very strong also. So, I think it's going to be a fun playoffs. But I don't like to look too far ahead because there's some great matches that are coming up this week and next week and the following week. So. But I'm sure I'm also have the Harlingen San Benito game scheduled on my calendar. Also, hopefully that'll be a battle like it always is. So there's going to be some great games that are out there to watch.
Yes, sir. Before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give to your schools, admins?
Basically, I want to thank all the. It is Tasso Appreciation Week this week, so I wanted to first shout out is going to be to the tremendous officials that are a special part of high school athletics. We're going to be appreciating them at all our volleyball games this week, and also give them a little love at our 3 football games that we have at Sam Stadium this week. Without them, we wouldn't be here. I know they're going through an official shortage, and it is a tough profession, but at the same time there is some opportunities to be able to make some extra money. I know we have some high schools that actually have a sports officials class that we could get those guys certified. And if you're a college student and you're in the Rio Grande Valley and you're used to the Friday night lights and playing volleyball and things like that, and you're going to school, it's a great way to make some extra money. Or you're in middle school and high school while you're working towards your degrees. So I want to. The main shout out would be to all the Rio Grande Valley officials for doing a great job both in football and also in volleyball.
Tomorrow's our game of the week, presented by Pronto Insurance. So tomorrow, Joe Bowling will be at Sam's. He'll be presenting. I'm guessing it's present you a check or your principal from Rivera with a $250 scholarship check that we're giving to the athletes. I don't know if you talked to Joe yet or not.
Yes, I have. That's very, very generous. Yes. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to take that check and submit it to our BISD Superintendent Golf Scholarship Fund, so it could go to the major fund, and then from there we'll present our scholarships at the end of the year.
Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to be presenting it there at Sam's on a Thursday night. So
that's a great gesture. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And thank you for always allowing us to go in there and work. I mean, for me, I've said it on air, so I'm not shy that Sam's is one of the best places to call a game. I've done it as a writer, photographer, so you guys just make everything very easy for us to go in there and get our work done, and it's the spot.
Well, you're always welcome, and like I said, we're right in the middle of a facelift, so there is some improvements that are coming to Sam Stadium on the south side. We're adding some concession stands and restrooms, ticket booths, and then probably the most sought after, we're adding 300 parking spots to Sam Stadium on the south side too. So. In about by January, February, it's going to have a different look to it, and hopefully maybe we could get some soccer action over there, and you'll be able to see what it's going to look like a little taste before next fall.
Perfect. That's Gilbert Leal, Athletic Director of BISD. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. When we come back, we'll wrap things up here from Luke Faria in Brownsville.
Baby, just listen to me.
Escucha.
Do everything with
Prontísimo.
Out of home business service.
Flexible.
Insurance for all your
Barato.
needs. You say you just got a new boat. Come on by and we'll give you a free quote.
Prontísimo.
Okay, who's singing near you? Hello?
Accesible.
I'm out.
Ask your agent how you can start saving with Pronto. Best price in town.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhound Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live!
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere that makes for the fun trip when stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on Jackson at First and Jackson in Harlingen.
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try our delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, pareadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
Baby, just listen to me.
Escucha.
We do everything with speed.
Prontísimo.
Out of home business or
Flexible.
insurance for all your needs.
Barato.
You say you just got a new boat. Come on by and we'll give you a free quote.
Prontísimo.
Okay, who's singing near you? Hello?
Accesible.
Pregúntale a tu agente cómo ahorrar con Pronto, porque más barato, nadie.
Welcome back to Luke Faria Motors in Brownsville, Texas. We're going to run through what we have on the schedule starting tomorrow night. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
4-game treat tomorrow night. We have Rio Grande City taking on Edinburgh Vela. And we'll have Los Fresnos take on Bronzo Lopez in the 32-6A opener. That's our Prana Insurance game of the week. Then we'll have another battle here between Port Isabel and the team from Mexico. Universidad Autónoma Ciudad Victoria comes into town, and Hidalgo goes up north to Temuc to take on H&M King. We move over to Friday, very busy Friday evening. Second, they're going. Westaco will take on Harlingen in the 32-6A opener. Edinburgh takes on Mission. 31-6A opener also kicking off this week. La Jolla takes on Edinburgh North. Mission Veterans takes on Sherryland Pioneer, and another big matchup to look out for in 16-5A Division 2 as they go and begin district play underway. Bronzo Lopez takes on Brownsville Pace. Calallen Wildcats come to town to take on the La Feria Lions. Austin Regions will take on Brownsville St. Joseph at Canales Field. Rivera takes on La Villa. Monte Alto will take on Odom, and then San Diego will take on Santa Gertrudis. And then one more football game on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. matinee. Gregory Portland comes to town to take on Brownsville Porter, and the Porter Cowboys, another team that's been hot as of late so far. And volleyball at Cal Chelsea will take on Harlingen South. McCall Memorial takes on Sherryland. Matt Kyle will take on Sherryland Pioneer. Harlingen will take on Los Fresnos. And then Brownsville St. Joseph will travel San Antonio to take on S.A. Christian. It's a good matchup. Another busy weekend.
Yep, another busy weekend. So tomorrow you will be in Port Isabel. Friday you will be
La Jolla and Edinburgh North.
And then Saturday.
Got volleyball.
Where will you be?
Harlingen taking on Los Fresnos, and they're a key 32-6A matchup.
There you go.
One thing missing, water polo. The regular season coming to an end. We got word also on the girls' side of things in 32-6A. The Harlingen South Lady Hawks are the 32-6A inaugural district champions. Again, water polo being added to YL for the first time in history. We also have PSJ North, the boys 32-6A champions, and by-district round set to begin around October 11th. We'll get word soon. Teams are still competing and still have games to make up this weekend, so we'll get the final word on seeing who's going to be playing who. But we do got one early word. I was speaking to Coach Richardson from PSJ North, said their possible matchup will be against Los Fresnos in the by-district round, the 4th seed out of 31-6A.
So tomorrow night I will be in Edinburgh. First time I get to see Edinburgh Vela live and in person. They'll be taking on Rio Grande City. And then Friday night I will be at Mission Veterans and Sherryland Pioneer. I'm really excited for that one. Anytime I get to see Coach Gilpin, that's always a lot of fun. And then Saturday, I'll hit the road with the St. Joe volleyball squad. They'll be up in San Antonio. So that wraps it up here from Luke Faria Motors. Special thank you to Coach Tony Villarreal from Port Isabel and Athletic Director of BISD, Gilbert Leal, who we'll see what he cooks up Sunday. He says he's got a special dish that he's going to be cooking up in his backyard. But it's Kevin, that's Ruben, that's Rudy. Thank you guys for tuning in here from Luke Faria Motors. Be sure to check out the games tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. And then we will see you guys here a week from today. We'll see who our guests will be next week. So, all right, that wraps it up. We'll see you guys at the games.